Tampa, home of the South Florida Bulls. Welcome to the Herd. Go behind the scenes, from the sidelines to the studio and everywhere in between. Featuring exclusive interviews with coaches, players, insights from the community throughout the program's 26th football season. United by head coach Jeff Scott.
Here we go, lock in right here.
Get ready, because this is our family. This is Bulls country, and we're a stampede. This is Horns Up, USF All Access.
Hey, work on two, 1, 2. Work.
Hello and welcome to Horns Up USF All Access. I'm WFLA sports anchor Karen Loftus.
And I'm USF sports anchor Kaylee Cottrell. Thank you so much for joining us. We are excited to give you inside access to the sights and sounds of USF with exclusive interviews and behind the scenes footage in the bullpen.
There is no doubt the Bulls have faced a lot of adversity up to this point in this season. Not only did we just experience a hurricane, which of course so many are still dealing with the devastation, but on top of that, the team also has faced rain delays and player injuries.
That's right, Karen. They have faced a lot in the last few weeks. One reporter even said it feels like every single week there's been something that throws them off. But the Bulls have continued to show up, and that's what's important.
Yes, and head coach Jeff Scott shares more about how they've responded and kept the spirit alive during challenging times.
I don't know that there's a team that's faced more adversity to this point in the season than South Florida. They had a 2.5-hour rain delay against BYU. They get relocated for a hurricane. They've got 14 guys in their 2 deep that are hurt right now. Feels like every single week there's been something that throws them off. From week 3 to week 9, they've got one true home game. Spirited effort for them to come out and start fast against Cincinnati, and they're playing exactly how they talked about this week that they needed to. They're dominating right now.
And that ball is intercepted.
The adversity and the difficulty and how to overcome, how to respond to that. You know, the game of football teaches you that, right?
He's got Weaver, and Weaver able to make the catch.
But still comes down with it just with that right hand.
One-handed catch.
All the great teams that I've been around have great leadership from within. You know, as a coach, you know, you're a big voice and really need to kind of project the mission of the program and how we're going to do things, what the standards are. For your team to take the next step, the players have to take ownership.
We're going to play our best game today. Everything y'all got, every play. Make them feel you. Make them feel you. Go work on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I think it's more important than ever that whenever the new guys come in, you know, they know who to look to, and they have the great examples of how we're going to do things, what the standard is, and really what, you know, our team culture is all about. There's been a lot of adversity, a lot of difficult times, and you got to show back up, you know, that next Monday and go to practice and start over.
Tough loss for South Florida, who absolutely played its heart out on the road today against a top 25 opponent.
How do we finish in those close games? It's not just about the endurance, it's not just about the grit, both of those are important, but it's about the execution. It's about being your best at doing your job at the end of a game. There's so many things you know, that come into play. It's the football knowledge of situations, it's knowledge of your defense, your offense, knowledge of what the opponent is trying to do in those situations, how you communicate with each other and becoming a part of a team. I think that's why so many student athletes, whether it's football or other sports, you know, go on to be very successful in business and in so many things, you know, outside of just their sport, because you have to be able to communicate. You understand the power of team and what that teamwork can truly do, and the leadership. When we get in those situations, we need to be at our best. And in order to do that, you got to be in shape, you know, mentally and physically. We got to be at our best, but also we have to be a smarter team, whatever it takes.
This segment was brought to you by MSC Cruises, a world of discovery.
They have definitely lived up to their motto, whatever it takes. And there's something to be said about teamwork and having great leadership in difficult times.
Yeah,
that's needed.
For sure. And another thing is that lots of lessons are learned during challenging times. Jimmy Horn Jr. and Gary Bohannon share some of those lessons that football has taught them.
We were talking about with South Florida last week and our calls this week with Coach Jeff Scott and defensive coordinator Bob Shoop. Both of them said, look, nobody's going to make excuses for us. Nobody cares. We've got to win. But you and I can make the excuses for them, because I don't know that there's a team that's faced more adversity to this point in the season than South Florida.
One of the great things about football is it truly is a teacher of so many things that do transition into life. And I think one of our goals for our players is that when they're here and part of our program, that they're not just learning, how to throw a ball or catch a ball or make a tackle, but we really want them to develop into the best person that they can be.
I mean, USF should get a ton of credit in this game. Head coach Jeff Scott had his team ready to play.
I feel like football teaches you a lot. Enjoy the highs and appreciate the lows, because, in the valleys, when it's just you, that shows like your true character.
One thing I learned from playing football is just believe in yourself, because like I say, that faith and that belief will take you so far. You put the work behind it.
Stay humble. Stay humble, you go make it.
Bohannon fakes the handoff, hits Jimmy Horn Jr. He can fly! Jimmy Horn Jr.
If you work in the dark, you shine in the light. And that's kind of what I've tried to live by during my football career. And the lights are on, and it's a Friday or Saturday night game, and we're on TV in front of 60,000 people in the stands, and however many people that are watching on TV, I'm gonna be ready.
So for me, I would say football, since the day I started playing, it's always been a sport that you have to push yourself. Everything you do, whether it's in the business world, in the sports world, it's walking around, anything you do, you got to push yourself. Comparing life to the hard things I went through in football, it just kind of made things like, I just did this in football, why can't I do this? So it makes everything a lot easier for me when I compare it to something.
Takes it to Battie and lets it fly. He's got Weaver, and Weaver able to make the catch.
Bottom line, I think to be successful, you don't have to be overly intelligent. You just got to do the easy things, right? Show up on time, be dependable, really just want to and have a desire to get whatever job you're gonna do done, essentially. And I think that's really a big key to life that a lot of people screw up. If you just kind of prepare and have a little bit of want to and a little bit of dependability, I think it can take you a long way.
Time now, get your mind right.
And all these things that we're talking to our guys about every day, it's going to help them be better people and be more successful husbands and fathers, and ultimately people that can have a great impact in their community in whatever occupation they have whenever they leave us.
Here fakes it, throws into the end zone. Weaver, touchdown! And USF is back in front.
This segment was brought to you by Buhoff Law Group.
Like running backs coach and run game coordinator Cam Aiken said, success starts with doing the easy things. But it's a process, and the Bulls continue to fight adversity and bring everything they've got to the table.
And in case you missed yesterday's homecoming game, which, by the way, ended a lively week-long celebration, we're showing you highlights from yesterday's game right after the break.
USF took on one of the top teams in the conference, the Tulane Green Wave, who came to Tampa with a 5-1 record, with a final score of 45-31. Let's take a look at the highlights.
It was homecoming weekend for South Florida with all of its pageantry, but not just for returning alumni. The Bulls themselves were back to play Tulane in their first home game in 5 weeks.
They'll try and throw for it. Pat batted into the air, incomplete at the line of scrimmage. Rashawn Yates, Trap will look the other way, back corner, incomplete.
The defense and offense was geared up to play in front of their own fans again.
The crossing route underneath Xavier Weaver. This could be the lethal combo for the Bulls moving forward.
Actually, Jeff Scott's team has multiple lethal weapons to choose from.
Bohannon looking over the top to Jimmy Horn, who's got it inside the 40.
Bohannon's arm and legs got hot late in the first quarter as the USF offense established their rhythm.
And they'll give it to him. First and goal. The fake pitch, the throw to the end zone, touchdown. Jimmy Horn is on the receiving end.
Tulane bounced back immediately, and the Ray J crowd could sense they were in for an entertaining game, and Bohannon, Horn and company proved them right.
Sun peeking through the clouds as Bohannon will call his own number. Breaks a tackle inside the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown! Bohannon running with the Bulls, 33 yards for the score.
Everybody fired up. It's homecoming.
Holiday atmosphere in the late afternoon Florida sunshine.
That's a terrific open field form tackle.
And now I think he has outrushed Tulane. Oh, and he may have gotten hurt at the end of the plays. Down at the 20-yard line after the collision.
Bohannon had the Bulls offense rolling, but after losing 10 starters the previous 2 games, he too was now finished for the day.
Travis Marsh is the sophomore backup who has appeared in a couple of games against Howard and Louisville.
He's in the game trying to maintain the momentum that was already built.
Despite the injury, the Bulls continued to keep the crowd energized.
Here comes the blitz again, and they're going to get to the quarterback this time. And Tulane's going to have to call a timeout.
Jason Vaughn led a fierce pass rush with 3 sacks himself.
4th and 4. Blitz coming. Pratt, ball knocked down. Tramel Logan, and the Bulls will take over on downs.
The green wave was facing a green and gold wave as the Bulls spent much of the afternoon applying pressure.
Marsh caught by Dukes on the wheel route, and he's got a 1st and goal inside the 5.
It's the orbit motion, an outstanding play, but great delivery by Travis Marsh on the outside.
Gain of 35.
That led to a Spencer Schrader field goal and a tie game in the 3rd quarter as they refused to wilt, doing whatever it took to keep things close.
Here comes the pressure.
Pratt, down he goes. Ball is out, and the Bulls have it.
Who else will it be?
Boyles, of course, recovered by Hansford.
That set up the offense to keep it a 1-score game heading into the 4th quarter.
Lunging for the goal line.
Tulane started to pull away in the 4th quarter, but as they have all season, battling injuries and other things out of their control, there was no quit in these guys. And even though they came up a little short on the scoreboard, they scored the most points on conference leader Tulane all season. And it was fabulous to be back home again. This week's highlights brought to you by Wendy's.
Welcome back to Horns Up USF All Access. It's time for one of my favorite parts of the show, the hometown visits. A couple weeks ago, we introduced you to running back Brian Battie, the second in program history to be named an NCAA Consensus All-American. Well, we took another trip to Sarasota to visit his hometown and checked in on his family.
Battie averages 8 yards a carry this year, 3rd leading rusher in the American.
He's really good out of the backfield as well.
Brian Battie stepping out of the tackle, an All-American return man.
Tight end set again, gives straight ahead, touchdown, Bulls! USF's first quarter touchdown of the season.
Grew up right here on the street, man. This street and this street, my great-grandma stayed right there at that house down there. My uncle actually lives there now. But yeah, this where it all started at, man. What's up, cousin? How y'all doing? Come here, give me a hug.
Oh, it's okay.
If you're from Sarasota, you grew up playing football. It's just, sometimes you know how it is everywhere. Certain kids take different paths once we get a little older, but guaranteed, if you're from Sarasota, you play football as a kid, for sure. What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? What's up? Yeah, this the fam right here, man. This is my mom right here.
Hi.
This mom.
Thank you for coming. It's been really nice seeing him grow into the player that he wanted to be, he aspired to be. So I know that he loved football from the moment he touched the football. It really makes me so proud of him and almost makes it feel like it was meant to be.
Brian's been such an inspiration to me, like just growing up watching him put in extra work every day. I see how great of an athlete he is and his success, and I just hope one day I can be as amazing as he is.
And ever since day one, man, I knew he was just different. Like, he's just a different type of dude. Like, it's not surprising. This man's been putting the work in since he was little.
Here's Betsy, gets the left side, he's got the edge, he's got the score. Brian Betsy from 9 yards out. The green lights are up, and the Bulls are a little closer.
I want to hug him because Brian has a heart of gold. He is the best, and I'm very proud of him. And I love him.
I love you too, Denise.
I love you.
I love you more. It puts a little pressure on me because I to myself, I tell myself you can't have your peoples come here for no reason. You gotta put on a show some way, shape, or form. But it's great. I mean, it makes me feel good knowing that my family supports me in every way possible. So I couldn't be more thankful for them. And I try to do the best I can to get them a great show.
This segment was brought to you by Yingling, America's oldest brewery.
Love seeing all that family support for him. Up next, we have got an exclusive off-season footage of the men's basketball team as Kaylee sits down with head coach Brian Gregory. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Horns Up USF All Access. The men's basketball team is gearing up for their season, and right now they're in training camp. Their first game is quickly approaching, and I sat down with head coach Brian Gregory for an exclusive interview about his hopes for the season. So Coach, catch me up on what the Bulls have been up to in the offseason.
We had a great summer, which really the foundation was laid in the spring, right after last season. The returners came back, tremendous in the weight room, tremendous in our skill development. One thing that was interesting with last year's group, only 2 players that played for us last year had played any significant minutes in the years previous. So this year was going to be big, getting those guys into their second year, understanding what we're all about. They had a great summer of skill work and team workouts, and a great job in the weight room. You'll see some changed bodies out there as guys have gotten older and stronger. But we did a lot of team stuff as well, just in terms of communication pieces and different things like that. Again, trying to build what we're all about, what we stand for, what our standards are. But I'm most proud of the development that these guys have made, and the new guys coming in, being able to come in right away and have a transition that's been very smooth.
And now that the season is upon us, what is the team doing to prepare?
We'll be working hard, and we'll be working hard. I think some good thing going to happen this season. Nice. So we're going to be ready for the first game and for the whole season.
I think I'm very excited for this upcoming season. With the newcomers and the new guys that's come in, and especially the returners, I think we should be having a great season this year.
Now, what can fans expect to see out of USF basketball this season?
This season, we're going to see a different team, you know, with a lot of energy. It's going to be fun to watch, and you know, we also need support from everybody, all the fans to come and support us to win games.
This team is going to be very emotional, very athletic, very spontaneous. I think this team is just going to bring a lot of energy to the court and to the Bull fans this year to give this team a good run.
We're a hard playing team, and we have to get back to playing with great energy and effort. The one thing I think we've added is a scoring punch with Tyler Harris, with Keyshawn Bryant, with Selton Miguel, and with the development of the other players. I think you're going to see a much better offensive team. We have to dominate in transition, we have to dominate on the glass, and we have to dominate in terms of sharing the ball, moving the ball. And of course, we need to be Bulls on defense, which is what we've been during our time here. But our defense needs to create some offense, which it did a few years ago when we led the league in steals, led the league or second in rebounding. If we can do that, then you're going to see a team that is much more connected, much more tougher physically and mentally, and that usually equates in our system to positive results.
How important is the first stretch of non-conference games?
Very important, and we're in training camp right now, 3 weeks of training camp, and then regular practices kind of start, which lead us right into the non-conference. It's always a tricky time with the non-conference because you're playing actually more games in a shorter period than you play as the league starts in January. So there's not as much practice time. So it's really important that you define your objectives, how we're going to play, what our identity is going to be like, and the guys grasp that very quickly. We got a great slate, though. You know, when you look at the competition that we're playing, both home, away, and on neutral sites, we're going to have some challenges. But it's important to have those. At the same time, get some success. You know, win some games and feel good about what you're doing heading into a tough conference season.
Well, we all sure can't wait for the season and to watch the guys. Thanks for chatting with me today, Coach.
You got it.
A strong team, for sure. And I'm excited to see the energy and grit they'll bring onto the court and into their first game. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's show. The Bulls are on their bye week, so no football game this Saturday, but they'll be back October 29th, ready to work and make a statement on the field.
And of course, make sure to keep joining us Sunday nights at 9 right here for more exclusive footage and inside access to USF Athletics. For Kaylee and myself, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.